Hello again, everybody, and welcome into season one, episode. What is it, Neil? 5 now that we're on,
I
or is
believe
this?
it's five. I believe so. Cinco.
Yes, of the and I feel like I have to say this now of the Champion Brothers or ChampCast or Bubba's Big Broadcast, and I still have to get my fingers right here. Yeah, that's Neil right over there.
All right. And I think that's Chris
No,
over
I'm the
there.
other way. There you go.
Oh,
Oh
boy.
man,
Let's
maybe by
just,
episode 14 we'll get our pointers correct, but
let's just talk some Southern gospel. How about
we
that?
just have to remember that right is left and left is right. And but I don't know if we can remember that or not. Now,
Yeah. I
the
find it hard.
disclaimer right off the top is if you'll look up there in the upper right hand corner of the screen, you'll see it's kind of small, but this is pre recorded because I had some prior obligations on our usual Thursday night time slot. So we are actually recording this on Sunday afternoon. What is today? The 27th. And so, with that said, we aren't going to be able to instantly respond to the comments like we normally do, but we want to encourage you to go ahead and comment anyway, because it may be to where either I or Neil can kind of see those when it is airing live on Thursday night at 7 o'clock,
Mhm.
and we can still respond to some of those, just not on a live basis. So anyway, does that make any sense? Is that
It does to me. So I
we're
think it should.
a lot of times, if I have to be out, I'll record morning call on the radio, and that's what I'll say. I'm here, but I'm not really here. So
Yeah.
that's what you're getting today. We're here, but we're not really here.
So you might see
So,
a comment response back from us, but you just won't hear us say anything or show your comments
right,
on the screen.
exactly.
Yeah.
So does that clears mud?
I think it is for sure.
But the main reason that we're here and the main reason we started this is because we just wanted to bring some gospel music back to the West Central Alabama area. And after the success of the Dixie Echoes concert that we had a couple of weeks ago, Neil's just kind of taken the ball and ran with it. And we have already got concerts scheduled through next March.
That's
And
right.
so basically every 4 months. So what it is, that's not every season or whatever, but every third of the year, we're going to have a concert, Lord willing, from now through next March at the Fayette Civic Center in Fayette, Alabama. And actually, I've already talked about doing some even past that into 2023. So, Neil, just kind of bring us up to date on what we've got coming down the pike.
Okay. Yeah. Glad to. I'm excited for there to be some regular events like this, bringing some, some of the nationally known artists into that area there of Fayette and Pickens and Lamar counties, and even from parts beyond that. I know we had people there on March 19th from even outside of that little 3 county area there. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we are set up already for July the 23rd, Saturday night, July the 23rd. To be there again at the Fayette Civic Center with the Lefevre Quartet. Again, Chosen Witness and Faithful Friends will be your host group. We'll be sharing a little bit at the start, but then we'll be featuring the Lefevre Quartet, and I'm excited about that. If you love Southern gospel music, if you love quartet singing, Lefevre
There's a picture
Quartet,
of them
bring
right
it.
there.
That's them right there. The man right in the middle is the head honcho, Mr. Michael Lefevre. Some of you probably remember him from his years with Gold City Quartet, but he's had the Lefevre Quartet together for years now. I off the top of my head, I can't remember how many years they've been traveling, but it's been several years. And then, of course, Jay Perrick over there on the left of your screen also sang with Gold City there for years. And so he's just, he's something just all by himself when he gets going. So, and then Jordan there, Mike's son, just to Mike's left. He actually married into the area there. His wife, Allie, from the Millport area, and so kind of connected there. So yeah, we're just excited to have them, and you will definitely hear some good quartet singing that night, and the Lord will be uplifted just like he was on March 19th. And so please put that down, tell people about it, get somebody to come with you, and come yourself, and help us enjoy that night together. So that's July the 23rd, Saturday night. We
And
are
just
going
to jump in right quick, the other two guys that are on there, from left to right, you got Jay, and then Jordan, and then Mike, and then Will Lane, the bass singer, and then Brian Elliott, the piano player or
Right.
pianist, if you want to get all technical about it. But that's who all those guys are. So
Oh
there you
yeah, they
go.
can definitely hold their own as well. But yeah, you guessed right that their names slipped me at that time. So thanks for filling that gap.
I'm here for you, buddy.
All right. So, okay. So July, 4 months after March, July 23rd, then another 4 months after that, we're already set up to have on November the 19th, if you want to write that down on your calendar, November 19th, right back at the Fayette Civic Center, hosted by faithful friends and chosen witness. We're going to have Endless Highway. And Endless Highway is they will bless your heart with their music, their talent on vocals and as instrumentalists. They play a lot of their own music. Now they might sing some with tracks also, but they can play the mom Van there on the right. She can play just about anything that she walks up to or that you put in her hands. And they all are great musicians. The dad there next to Van, and then their daughter and their son, Allie, and go ahead, fill the gap. Their son's name is
Jay and Jason. I get them confused, but
okay.
I think Jason is the dad and Jay is the son. I think Scott will
Okay.
correct us on this whenever, but
Right.
Vanessa or Van. But yeah, they are just some incredible talents, and I haven't had the opportunity to see them in person yet. And but everything that I've heard, and I've got several of their recordings, and just it'll amaze you. And they do just a little bit of every kind of style you can imagine. I mean, Vanessa back in the day sang with the Lesters for a few years and did a wonderful job. And some of their stuff sounds like some of that Lester stuff from back in the 80s and the 90s, but
Right.
they can turn right around and do a bluegrass number or just a
Mhm.
straight ahead Southern gospel number. So I think
Right.
folks will enjoy them a whole lot.
Yeah, and before the Lesters, her family group, which eventually became Endless Highway,
Hmm.
was the Joylanders, and they
Yeah.
actually sang in that part of the country numerous times. I know for sure I can remember them being at Pleasant Hill down in outside of Columbus, Mississippi, and other places around. You might remember Joylanders. Vanessa was the young little girl, teenage girl, sitting over there playing that steel guitar like you ain't never heard. I mean,
Hmm.
so yeah, well,
And am I getting my wires crossed? Didn't Dale Shipley, that later sang with Perfect Heart, didn't he sing with the Joylanders at one time? I
no.
think. I know I may be confused on that, but
He
anyway,
may have, yeah,
I don't
okay.
know.
We'll have to
Um,
research on that
I
and
may be getting off too far off in the weeds on
right.
that.
Okay. Yeah, we'll confirm that and come back and say if it's absolutely so or if, we were wrong, but we'll see. But yeah, I'm just excited to have them. I mean, came on the national scene, to me anyway, known to me just a few years ago. I have had the pleasure of seeing them in person. And absolutely, I have the utmost confidence in them coming and being a part of that service that night that we're going to have at the Fayette Civic Center. I know they've been touring a lot with Mark Lowry as he's toured the country. And I was even told when I was checking into having them that the last part of the year, they're going to be touring a lot with Mark.
Yeah.
But guess what? November 19th was open. They did not have
Well,
that
there you
date booked
go.
with Mark. So I think they were just holding it for us. So we're
Yep.
going to bring them to Fayette, Alabama for sure.
And I had a senior moment. Dale Shipley sang with the Songmasters. That's what I was thinking about. But they were
Song
from the
Masters.
West Tennessee area, just like the Endless Highway is, or kind of Midwest Tennessee, I guess you'd say. But
Right.
yeah,
And
that's what I was thinking about.
they also sang at Pleasant Hill and
Yeah.
for sure. And Deborah Talley, before she was Deborah Talley, also sang with the Songmasters at one
Yeah.
time as well.
So,
Yeah.
it,
Okay.
it's not always going to be gospel. I may get off on some of this stuff, but we'll eventually correct ourselves. So.
That's all right. It's all tied back in. Okay, so that's July 23rd, November 19th is already set up. And then again, we've already got set up to have back to the Fayette Center, Fayette Civic Center next year, March 18th. The Dixie Echoes are going to be back with us. So we just want to hope to just make that an annual thing in March to bring in the Dixie Echoes. And then maybe we'll have some different groups in July and August because, if the Lord keeps blessing and encouraging, I just hope this thing can just go on as long as I'm around to help it go on and maybe even after me if somebody else picks up the reins. So I'm really looking forward to it for sure.
Absolutely. So got all those, and we'll be reminding you of those, of course, as we go along each week when we get together, or whatever the frequency is of us doing this. But we'll just want you to go ahead and put it down on your calendar. Which, Neil, I don't think I told you this, but I got a message on Facebook yesterday from a sweet lady that I honestly, her name slips my mind at this point. But she said that she was disappointed that she missed the singing last Saturday night because she thought it was last night. So,
Oh goodness. Oh man. Oh, I hate
so no
that.
matter how hard we try, there's going to be some folks that get their wires crossed just like we do.
Sure. Absolutely.
But we just want to give you this opportunity to put those dates down for sure. July 23rd and November 19th. For the next two Champion Brothers series of singings, I guess is what we could call that,
That's
at the
right.
Fayette Civic Center in Fayette, Alabama. So,
For sure.
well, let's
Yeah.
see. We were scheduled to have a special guest today, our buddy Ron Foster from Gospel Down South on 95.3 The Bear in Tuscaloosa. But right before we got started recording to this broadcast this afternoon that's going to be aired on Thursday night, Ron tried to get in, and his IT people were all over it, but we just couldn't make it happen. So we are going to effort having Ron on sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
We thought we were going to get to have him on last week, and it didn't work out, and same thing for this week. But we promise you we're going to have Ron on because he has done a whole lot for gospel music in the central Alabama area, and carrying on his long tradition. I think I saw a post he made earlier today that said he had been behind the mic for 25 years now. So,
Wow.
and
My goodness.
that's real great until
Man.
I start thinking about it. Oh, well, I've been doing it for 30 something, but
Oh, I didn't need to hear that. That my
I
younger
didn't either.
brother has been doing
I
it
didn't
30
either.
years.
Do the math. I started in 85. So what is that? From
Okay.
85 to 22 is 37 years. Is that
Man,
right?
yes, you are quickly approaching 40 years there,
So,
brother.
yeah. Okay. Well, I'm older than dirt, but
Okay.
said all that to say we want to get Ron on sooner rather than later. And I think I
For
heard
sure.
kind of in the background there that y'all are making arrangements, Neil, to maybe where he can come over to your house and y'all just sit up there in the same room or different rooms or whatever and get that on for a
Right.
future broadcast. So hopefully
Right.
we'll
We're
get
gonna
that worked out.
make it happen. And I want to correct one thing too. We mentioned Ron last week in last week's
Yeah.
live stream, and I was telling about first seeing him when his son Austin was just couldn't hardly see over the edge of the counter. He was so young, and I said something about, and he's getting married soon. So boy, think about how long that was.
Whoa, wait, didn't he already get married?
Austin's been married 2 years, folks. So I don't know
well,
why I
see, there you
said
go.
that. What's in my mind is that I knew Ron and his wife are going to be taking a trip to the area where Austin and his wife are, and for some reason I'm thinking it was to go to Austin's wedding for some reason, but yeah, it was to go into his graduation. He's having
Oh, there
he's
you go.
graduating with like a master's degree, I believe. It's a pretty serious
Yeah.
thing. But yeah, Austin's been married 2 years, so that's even more to my point of couldn't even see over the counter then, and he's already grown and been married 2 years now. So anyway, I
Goodness.
just wanted to clean that up and make sure
We're
that
telling
I
on
correct it.
ourselves way under too much today of the stuff we're not getting right, but having to go back and correct ourselves on.
Right. We want to make it right though.
But anyway, we'll have Ron Foster on hopefully sooner rather than later, and hope y'all can join us for that. And then spinning off of that, because you talk Ron Foster, you're talking about radio, and
Oh, yeah.
just wanted to drop in. I spent some time late yesterday afternoon with my buddy Les Butler at Real Southern Gospel, and we were talking about some things, and he was sharing with me Real Southern Gospel Radio is actually going to have a share-a-thon. And by the time this airs, it will be the first part of the week, but it's actually going to be on Monday and Tuesday of this week, which that thought just came through my head just as I was saying that. Well, that's already going to happen after we do this.
That's all right.
We're 3 for 3 if you're scoring at home on getting stuff wrong. But anyway, but yeah, Real Southern Gospel Radio had a share-a-thon earlier this week, and just asking folks to help support it, because let me tell you, Les has basically emptied everything he's got into Real Southern Gospel Radio. It is a true mission for him and a ministry for him, and he has done a lot. And basically, it costs a lot of money to do this the way that he is doing it. And so if you didn't get a chance to hear and participate in the share-a-thon, You will still have an opportunity to do that just by going to realsoutherngospel.com. And you can make a donation there if you'd like. There's several different plans that you can do. You can do a one-time donation. You can sponsor a day every month, and you can do that to honor somebody, or honor the day that you got saved, or a birthday, or whatever the case might be. But that's just a way that you can help out in keeping this dream of Real Southern Gospel Radio alive, and keep it going. You can listen to it online at realsoutherngospel.com, or you can download the free app that's available in both the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. And let me shoot this up in the corner of the screen, but if you'll just look for that little seal right there, it says Certified Real Southern Gospel. That's the way that you'll know that you're getting the right app, and you can listen to that 24/7, 365. And I'm on there mainly in the afternoons, early evenings, or through the night. But looking forward to making some changes and doing some things where you'll actually hear me introducing songs and talking a little bit more about the artist and all. I'm just kind of doing some little drop-in type stuff right now. But anyway, if you are inclined to want to support that, that's the best way that you can do it, is just go to the website, realsoutherngospel.com. And then coming up in April, the second Saturday of April, let me turn and look at my calendar here, April 9th, we're going to debut a new program called Champ's Favorites. And it's where I sit down with some of my favorite people, and they talk about some of their favorite songs. It's going to start out just being a monthly program on the second Saturday of each month. And the first episode will feature our friend Scoot Shellnut that we just had here in Fayette with us a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
And we'll be talking with him and listening to some of his favorite songs and some of the stories behind them. And then next month in May, we'll be visiting with all 4 members of the Inspirations, and got that one finished up yesterday, and looking forward to hearing that on down the line. And we've got several other interviews lined up. Neil doesn't know it yet, but he's going to be one of my guests here before too much longer. So,
okay.
there's your surprise. You dropped a surprise on me a couple of weeks ago when we were testing, so I figured it was my time to drop one on you. But
Okay.
so be thinking about 10 to 12 songs that are your favorites, and we'll line all that up sooner rather than later too. So
Okay.
we just want to get that plug in for Real Southern Gospel, and Champ's Favorites is going to be coming up real soon.
Yeah, and of course, because I've got a little bit of an inside connection, I got to hear a little bit of that Scoot Shellnut show that's going to be aired. And it was, I was literally like on the edge of my seat. What's the next song going to be? What's the next song going to be? And, and what's he going to say about it? And, it was, I really love the format. It's really informative. And it's a good thing. I can't wait to hear the others.
And just to talk about, I know some of the ones that I've got lined up and that I've talked to, and just got to schedule the times to do the interviews. But Gerald Williams, our friend from the Melody Boys Quartet, sings with the Kinsmen. He's going to be joining me. Jim Cumby, who was the owner of Solid Gospel back in the day when I worked there. Jim's going to join me for a program. Steve Perkins, that was with the Bishops back in the day. I called him the other day, and we were talking about it, and probably about 15 minutes after we hung up, he sent me a list of about 35 songs. I'm like, Steve, you got to whittle that down a little bit, bud. But we're going to be getting that one together real soon, and one that's got a local interest that I haven't talked to yet. So if y'all hear this and y'all go tell him, you may get to tell him before I get to see him, but I want to have Judge Ed Gosa on. Judge has got one of the biggest,
a wealth of knowledge,
biggest collections of Southern Gospel that I've ever seen. And but I want to have him on and talk about some of his history and some of his favorite songs that's in his massive Southern Gospel collection, and not only records, but memorabilia. He gave me a set of those Blackwood Brothers glasses. I'm looking up because they're right here on top of my desk at home, but he is a wealth of information. So I'm hoping to get him lined up for one in the future as well.
Cool. Hey, you mentioned Mr. Gerald Williams. What a pleasure it has been to get to know him over the last 20 years, I guess.
Yeah.
Of course, he traveled and sang with Melody Boys for 63 years, I think.
I think it was 63 is when they did that last
the
album.
Exit 63 tour.
Yeah.
Yeah. but yeah, you talking about a kind man. That I was talking last week some about how personable a lot of Southern gospel people are, and Mr. Gerald definitely fits the mold. Let me tell you, just I love just sitting around, just having times, the times that I did, and just listen to him tell stories. I mean, it was great. I mean, and thinking of the Melody Boy, can we play a Melody Boy song?
Well, yeah.
It's not.
And speaking of Mr. Gerald, he has watched some of our programs of this and commented. So
he did,
Mr. Gerald, if you're watching this one, this is pre-recorded, so we can't answer in real time if you want to say something. But it's always a joy to hear from you, and I'll be getting with you on the Champs favorites. But yeah, the Melody Boys, I first met them back in the early '90s, not long after I had moved to Nashville and started with Solid Gospel. And they were recording for the Zion Music Group with Kevin McManus. And that's when I first met these guys and just fell in love with them and their traditional quartet singing and, just basically four guys and a piano and no stacked vocals and just some of the most intricate arrangements you'll ever hear. But picture, that's Mr. Gerald Williams on the left, then Jonathan Sawrey, and then Mike Franklin, and then Doug. And shoot, I knew I'd do it again.
Doug
Kramer,
yes.
Doug Kramer.
There you go. That's right.
Was the baritone singer, and that group right there sung together for about 15 years straight, which is not very many groups in Southern Gospel can say that. But through the years, they had different members come and go, as all groups do. But yeah, that's still. And Jonathan and I started about 5 years ago going to Alabama, Arkansas ball games together. So, he's been over here to Tuscaloosa twice, and I've been over there once, and may go back this coming fall.
Right.
But it's still nice to keep in touch with all those guys. So
cool. Yeah. I know Mr. Gerald, even though he's not traveling all over the country anymore, the Melody Boys, he's still active in singing with a regional group there in the Little Rock, Arkansas area, the Kinsmen. He's still a part of that group. And this is just a song that I pulled out because it was one of my favorites. There's so many favorites of the Melody Boys, but this was one, the title song on this particular recording, Faith in My Savior. And boy, get ready to hear some harmony on this one.
Let's listen to it. Here's the Melody Boys Quartet and Faith in My Savior.
My faith in the Savior keeps me happy each day because I know He has redeemed my lost soul. My lost soul I'm anchored and I'm determined to be faithful and say I'll trust Him those storms and the fury may roll. My faith is strong and pure. He keeps me day by day, and I have turned from sin's allure. I know that Jesus sets me on the way.
I will never doubt Him and never be without Him. He is now my Savior, and in Him find the greatest favor.
And I have turned from sin's allure. I know that Jesus sets me on the way. I counted my blessings that He gave unto me, and sing redemption was provided for. When His gracious promise was accepted, and from sin I am free, I'll sing His praises and serve Him best as I can. My faith is strong and pure. He keeps me day by day, and I have turned from sin's allure. I know that Jesus sets me on the way.
I will never doubt Him and never be without Him. For He is now my Savior, and in Him find the greatest favor.
And I have turned from sin's allure. I know that Jesus is with me all the way. My faith is strong and pure. He keeps me day by day, and I have turned from sin's allure. I know that Jesus is with me all the way.
couldn't help myself. I had to add the 6 in there. The Melody Boys Quartet and Faith in My Savior. You're listening to Champion Brothers. Let's talk some Southern gospel, and watching, or whatever the case might be, here on Facebook or YouTube or wherever you might be tuned in. And I don't like bragging on myself, you know that, but one of the greatest times that I've ever had in my life was 2 different times that I got to fill in with the Melody Boys. One was, I think, back in somewhere around 2000, I think, when Doug Kramer had decided that he was going to retire from the road, and the person that they had hired couldn't start yet. So I just went with them on one weekend. It was like right after Quartet Convention, and getting to stand with those 3 guys, Jonathan and Gerald and Mike. And then a few years later, they were in between baritone singers again. And this was after Jonathan had left and Jeremy Raines had moved up to the lead singer spot. But Gerald and Mike were still there, and I got to travel with them for about 5 weeks. And, well, that taught me one thing. There was a time when I would have just about cut off my left arm to get to sing baritone in a quartet, but that let me know that that dream had died, because I just really don't see how folks like George and Glenn and Jake and Hovey and James Blackwood and J.D. Sumner did it for, 30 and 40 and 50 and 60 years, because the hour and a half or whatever that we were on stage singing, oh yeah, I was just having a blast. And unmute your microphone, Neil. But the other 22 and a half hours was just like, okay, what do we do now? So,
well, I wasn't talking yet, so that was all right.
Some wonderful times of getting to travel and sing with those guys back in the day. And that was 2004. So yeah, that was 18 years ago, but
right.
It doesn't seem like it, but
I had
mighty good times.
I had the pleasure of seeing one of those times, one of those concerts during those times. It's like, yeah, that's my brother up there. That's what I was feeling that night. So
and
it was
scared
good.
to death. And they would do a song like Pray. Which,
man. Why don't you just go ahead and play that one? You got that one?
I was figuring to say, let me see if I can find it right quick.
That's one of the classic acapella songs ever been recorded in Southern gospel.
But they did it, and you talking about woodshedding, because that 5 weeks that I was traveling around with them, I was all but one of those weeks I was driving to Little Rock from Fayette, and then going to wherever they were going from there. And so I was just, that's all I would listen to was Melody Boys CDs and the songs that they had told me that we were going to be singing. And Pray was just a booger bear to finally learn. But I'm not sure if this is the original recording or what, but let's just do a little more Melody Boys and let's listen to Pray. How about that?
Boom, 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 boom. Pray when you're feeling low. Boom. When the hill winds blow. I said now, don't forget to pray. Hallelujah, brother, come on and pray. When you go to bed. Boom. For your daily bread. I said now, don't forget to pray. Boom, 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 boom. You can wait to a beautiful morning. When you got troubles, remember this warning and pray, brother, until judgment day. Hallelujah, I've got the devil to pay. I said now, if you never open up the good book, find some things, brothers and sisters, won't you listen to me? You better get ready when you got misery. Get on your bended knee. Turn to the Lord and He'll set you free. Pray for all the people. Face the devil when you got worn out shoes. When you go to bed and you got worries too. Turn to the Lord and He'll set you free. If you'll only pray. You cannot wait. Trust in the Lord. You see the sun again. When you got troubles, have your friends and you love them. You'll have fun again. Come on and pray. Now that you've heard my plea, say the words after me. Turn to the Lord and He'll set you free. If you'll only pray, you cannot wait to a beautiful morning. When you got troubles, remember this morning and pray, brother, until judgment day. Hallelujah, I've got the devil to pay. I said now, if you never pray, well, you gotta pray. My brother, when the spirit hits, you gotta sing and shout, or the devil will get you. Gotta clap glad hands and shout hallelujah. If you wanna get joy like the angels do, you gotta pray and pray and pray and pray for.
Gabriel gonna sound his trumpet one day.
Pray.
Well.
Pray when you're in the dumps.
My brother,
Then you can take your bumps.
I said now.
You know I'm going to say it at least once, but are there any questions? Better not be.
Man alive. Yeah, that was their live recording, and man, yeah, good stuff.
So that was Melody Boys and Pray. So there you go.
That is a good one for sure. Hey, let's go back and get some of that. We talked about us being in gospel music most of our lives, and we've already talked about some of the folks that, were an inspiration to us and that, had an effect on us and our singing. And we have already mentioned the Fields family, the Wayman Fields family, that we sang with so many times over the years. We'd school with Brother Wayman and Miss Gale's kids, and boys excited to see Mr. Wayman and Miss Gale at the Fayette Civic Center on the 19th. It was good to see them there. But I came across, I knew they had sung their whole lives, but an album that I didn't even know about that existed, I came across it at a thrift store. And boy, I was thrilled when I found it. And as I like to do, I get these records I find, and I try to digitize them, kind of clean them up, and get them as because some of them are in pretty rough shape sometimes. But try to get as good as I can sound. But yeah, this is one that was the Singing Bryants, which that was, as I understand it, that was Mr. Wayman, Miss Gale, and then Miss Gale's sister Mavis, which Miss Gale and Mavis were sisters to the Bryant brothers that we talked about a few weeks back that had such an influence on us growing up. So they were Bryants as well before they were married. And so this was the Singing Bryants, even though I guess when they were first singing, Miss Mavis was still a Bryant. Maybe even Miss Gale was at first, but at the time of this recording, it was Wayman and Gale Fields and Miss Mavis Bryant, or maybe she was already married. I know she married Sammy Bird.
Sammy Bird, yeah, because Sammy's on this record. So
okay, so I guess she was already married at the time of this one. So yeah, I think some of the songs on the record Sammy is singing on, and there's even a couple where their children sing, very young kids singing. But this particular one I wanted to share, I'm pretty sure it's just Mr. Wayman and Miss Gale and Miss Mavis, the three of them.
Miss Jackie Williams was playing the piano, because later on, Marcia, their Wayman and Gale's oldest daughter, started playing the piano most of the time.
Right.
But on this recording, Miss Jackie Williams was playing the piano, and so I don't think she was a Bryant. But
yeah, I don't think so. But yeah, she was definitely one that was that had helped them over the years. But yeah, I want to share this song off of there if we can. It's I Am Happy Now. And I went back even and looked at some of the others that have recorded it. But hey, I love this recording, the Singing Bryants.
I'm happy now, yeah, I'm heaven bound, yes, there's nothing down here can turn me round. I'm on my way, yeah, to endless days, no earthly weight can hold me down. I know that I'm gonna meet the devil every day. With God's help, I'm gonna fight every day. I'll not give in, yeah, I'm out to win, yes, a Roman crown on that day. When day is done, yeah, at set of sun, yes, I'll fly away to heaven above. But while I'm here, yeah, I'll have no fear, yes, with God to keep me in His love. I know that I'm gonna meet the devil every day, and with God's help, I'm gonna fight every day. I'll not give in, yeah, I'm out to win, yes, a Roman crown on that day. I'm happy now.
Singing Bryants, and I'm Happy Now. That one may have been one of those deals where it was a victim of the true stereo. because I know I heard Miss Mavis in the background, but it wasn't quite as loud as the two guys that were on there. But still some mighty fine music. Because back in the day, when they finally figured out what stereo was, a lot of times they would put two parts on the left side of the speaker or the channel, and then two parts on the right. And so when you sat there in the middle, it kind of seemed like you were sitting in front of them at a concert. But anyway, that was good stuff. The Fields family, and yeah, I like that part. I think that was Sammy that was singing that, the yes and the yeses and all that.
Right.
That's mighty fine stuff right there.
For sure.
We could start talking now and still be talking this time next week about the impact that Wayman and Gail and the whole Bryant family and the Fields family and all had on us through the years. Because
for sure,
I think I told Mr. Wayman the other night, I said, if there wouldn't have been a Wayman Fields, I'm not sure there'd be a Chris Champion singing gospel music these days. But
yep, I feel the same way. Yep. Big influence for sure.
Well, let's see, what else we got on the list today that we can talk about?
You know, there was one little cut that just thinking about all your years in radio, and you know, I can imagine, you know, there was a day when you literally were either flipping an LP and queuing it up, or either getting a CD out of the case and putting it in a machine, song by song, and watching that clock and having to get it played right up, just right till you got to the news time or whatever, you know.
Back time into the news.
There you go. Well, I come across this one song that was on one of those old records that I got. It's a song recorded by the Rebels, and I think it's probably the shortest cut I've ever seen. It was 1 minute and 7 seconds, the whole song. And I thought, man, I bet that would have been one that would have been in the back of the mind of a DJ at that time. If he got real close and just needed a really short one, this one might have got more airplay than it might have otherwise. But it's a good song, a good cut. And I wanted to share it. I'm going to fly. And it's only 1 minute and 7 seconds. So,
all right, here we go. Here's the Rebels flying by us. Oh, that's a quick one.
Many weary miles I have traveled in the sinful land, many weary trials for the Lord have had to stand. Soon I'll live with him forever there beside the crystal river way up in the sky. I have made it right with the one who gave his life for all. Soon I'll take a flight when I hear the trumpet call. I have made my preparation for that happy celebration way up in the sky. Gonna fly way up in the sky. Gonna sail to my happy home on high. What a day of jubilation that will be when we meet the one who gave his life for me. Gonna fly way up in the sky.
That's all, folks.
That's all 1 minute and 7 seconds. The Rebels quartet. Leave that up there a second because I'm probably going to have to spot check myself. But on top in the middle, of course, is Jim Hamill. And the lower left, sitting down, is Nick Bruno. He played the piano for the Rebels and later on for the Kingsmen. Yeah. And I want to say that's two Booth brothers. I think that is Charles on the upper left, and I think that's Ron Booth in the middle on the bottom.
Right. Ron Booth is definitely one of them, without a doubt. The father of today's Booth brothers.
I'm going to be doing some background looking right quick because I've got a link I'm going to try to pull up to, and I'm sorry if you're hearing all that mess, but
that's just part of it.
Some sound was coming through my computer that I wasn't anticipating, but
okay.
I'm trying to find some, let me see. I've got a link to the Southern Gospel History page, and I'm going to see if I can find.
Yeah, the exact lineup of that group.
The Rebels. Let's see. I'm just...
One thing about that song is that I bet you that drummer was glad it was only 1 minute and 7 seconds. Boy, did you hear how fast he was hitting that hi-hat? It took a while to keep that up for 3 minutes.
And I just checked myself. Yes, that is Charles Booth.
Okay.
He was with the Rebels as the lead singer from 1970 to 72, and I think that recording was in 70, wasn't it?
I believe so.
And then Ron was there as the tenor singer from 68 to 74, and he is the dad of Ronnie and Michael Booth of the Booth brothers.
Mm-hmm.
So, so there you go. And of course, Hamill was the baritone. And looking at this list, I think John Gresham was the bass singer for that. And
Yep.
he was followed by Buddy Lyles, who later went on to the Florida Boys. So there you
Okay.
go.
All
Everybody
right.
sang with everybody at one point or another, it seems like.
Sure. Just kind of switch and swap. Yeah,
But that's some pretty good stuff from the Rebels right there.
it was. Like I say, it was a short number, but boy, it was a good one though, for sure.
And then when you start talking about Jim Hamill, I mean, what what can you not say about Jim Hamill? I mean, just the commanding presence that he had with the Rebels, and we talked about him last week with the Blue Ridge Quartet, and then of course, most folks are most familiar with him with his tenure with the Kingsmen. For
Right.
many years, and they just got on a kick there of doing live albums, and I don't think anybody did live albums better than the Kingsmen.
Oh no, the way Big Jim would direct the stage. I mean, he was the general. When they hit the stage, I mean, he was the general. I've heard some of them talk in some other interviews and all. It's like they didn't have a list they were going by, whatever. They watched him, and he called the songs, and he pointed at who would sing when, and he directed it, and people just loved it. Yeah.
Yep. And you've told the story about me sometimes about how I'd chew somebody out and make them smile while I was doing it. We may tell
can
some
do
of them
that,
stories
too.
later, but Hamill's could sure. I mean, that's where I learned it from, because
Yeah.
somebody get up and walk off, and he'd just stop. Where are you going? Get back in your seat.
Yeah, sit down while
And
I'm singing.
People just eat it up. So,
Yes,
but
for
they would
sure.
always come to the firemen singing. And going back to last week's broadcast, we talked about Dean Maddox had written that editorial in the Times Record, and he
Right.
referenced the firemen singing. It was always for many years was held on the first Saturday night in May.
Right.
At the Coliseum. It was Memorial Coliseum back then. And I've always said that's the only singing that I know of that they stopped having it because 6,000 people was a pitiful crowd. But
Yeah, wasn't that something?
I think the
Good
last
God.
year or two that they had it, the crowd was only 5,000 or 6,000 people, where back in the heyday, they would just about pack it out, and it held, I think, 15,043 for a basketball game. And it was probably a little bit more than that when they put chairs on the floor and the stage at the end. But
Right.
the Kingsmen did a bunch of good singings there through the years, and actually recorded an album there of their live album series that they did for several years at the University of Alabama at the firemen singing one year. So
They did. Yeah, let's just play a song off of that album. What do you think?
sure.
Yeah,
Which I know, did you pull down the intro that they would always do? Or
Oh
no?
man, I didn't. I should have.
We'll
I
have to go
didn't.
back and get that sometime.
Yeah,
But
that
this
was
is-
a great one.
This is from 1983, the Kingsmen live at the University of Alabama, and I'm so glad.
I'm so glad that Jesus saved my soul, that I want to tell wherever I go how he rescued me from life's angry sea. I'm so glad to know he's in control. I'm so glad that Jesus saved my soul. He's the sweetest peace within. I must tell it everywhere I go, how he rescued me from sin. He must be ready, for he's coming back someday to take his waiting right back home with him to stay. Friend, oh, won't you come to him today? He will wash your blackest sin away. You can come along and sing with us this song. He your soul will save. Oh, sometimes it makes me want to shout, and I have to tell the world about grace so rich and free that has come to me. I'm so glad there's not a single doubt. I'm so glad that Jesus saved my soul.
Keeps me sweet with him. I must tell it everywhere I go. How he rescues me from sin.
You best be ready, for he's coming back someday to take his waiting right back to home with him to stay.
Friend, I want to come to him today. He will wash the blackest sin away. You can come along and sing with us this song. He your soul is
But wait, there's more.
Yes, sir.
I like that. Come on, Sean.
oh, sometimes it makes me want to shout.
Oh, that's good.
And I have to tell the world about grace so rich and free that has come to me. I'm so glad there's not a single doubt. I'm so glad that Jesus saved my soul. Gives me sweet with him. I must tell it everywhere I go. How he rescued me from sin.
You best be ready, for he's coming back someday to take his waiting right back to home with him to stay.
Friend, I want you come to him today. He will wash your blackest sin away. You can come along and sing with us a song. He your soul is saved.
That's good stuff right there, man.
Thank you. Hey,
Absolutely.
I think that was what? I think that was cut one side too, wasn't it?
I think you're about right. Yep.
But I
Man.
was thinking about that, and through that whole song, just mind going crazy. The first thing I thought about is that was one of the very few fireman singings that we didn't attend.
That's
Because
right.
I think the Bama Boys had a singing somewhere that night, and we didn't get to go for that night.
That's
for
right.
that live recording, but we were there at pretty much every other one that they had down through the years, and remember that. And then I start thinking about the lineup. I mean, basically, that lineup that you just heard singing that song, Ray Reese is the only one that's still with us because
Yeah,
Ed Crawford
that's
passed
right.
away, I think, last year, and then Hamill's gone, and Ray. Ernie Phillips is gone.
The little
The
giant.
piano player Anthony Berger is gone, and Gary Dillard that played the steel and guitar, and he passed away about a year or so ago. And but yeah, it's just hard that Ray Reese and Greg Fox and Wayne Maynard are the only three that's left out of that.
Wow.
Hard to believe, but
Yep, it is. Great.
and we talked
times.
about the intro. When every year when they would come to the firemen singing, and it would be their first time on stage, they would roll a G chord and they would sing "Roll Tide." So
That's right. Yeah.
and people just go absolutely crazy. And so it was on that record too, before they went into "Shouting Happy." That's the first song they
There
did
you
on
go.
that album.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, if we're still doing this in the fall, we'll probably just have to open every program with that one. That's what we'll do.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was looking to see if I don't know if I've got that in my collection that I've got where I can just call up, but I'm not sure if I do or not. But anyway, that was some mighty fine times through the years that going to the firemen singing in Tuscaloosa.
It was. And you talking about us, we were there at just about all of them. There was that one year that we actually had the opportunity to stand on that stage. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah.
the
Yep.
Bama
Got to
Boys
sing some.
actually was one of the warm up groups at the start of the firemen singing. And man, you talking about scared. I was scared to death. I mean, it was early enough that the place wasn't, the entire crowd wasn't there yet, but there were still a lot of people. And
Oh yeah.
this little boy from Millport was standing up there singing. But yeah, one of my greatest memories, though, being able to stand on the stage because I was thinking about all the people I had seen there at that event, and we're going to be there that night even, and singing. But yeah, it was great, that opportunity. And then we also got to sing with the Kingsmen other times, like in Hamilton, Mississippi,
Mm-hmm.
at the annual singing they would have there. I remember the year that was we were the local group, if you will, and then the Kingsmen and Heaven Bound were there
Yep.
that night. And you mentioned, I think, a previous week of us doing this, that we took the picture of us standing out by Heaven Bound's bus just so we could play like, it was the Bama Boys bus or something. But yeah, but singing with them that night. And of course, Hamill, there toward the end, he called everybody up on stage and he included us. And we stood up
Yep.
there with Heaven Bound and the Kingsmen and sang that last song. Do you remember what the song was?
I don't.
Drum
but you
roll,
do.
please. Oh, yeah. Just a Little Talk with Jesus.
There you
Because
go.
I was standing at that time, I was singing the tenor part with the Bama Boys, and I was standing over there with Gary Shepard, who was the tenor at that time with the Kingsmen, and with Alan, Heaven
Ham.
Bound's tenor singer, Alan
Alan
Ham.
Ham. Yep.
I was standing there with them singing the tenor. I can remember when it would change keys, and then the tenor singer would sing the last verse, and they just kind of poked me and had me sing one of those lines by myself, And then right as it's going into the chorus, Gary Shepard leaned over to me and said, "Now sing the baritone part, octave high." That's what he said, and it took off, and I hit the wrong part, like what would normally be the tenor, and then had to jump up to where they are. Then I understood what he meant. Baritone part, octave high.
Oh, there you go.
Goodness gracious. But speaking of Heaven Bound, hey, I'm studying up on these segues. I'm trying to kind of tie the
There
things
you
together.
go.
That's working.
Yes,
ain't it?
sir.
I wanted to
Absolutely.
bring out a Heaven Bound song this week. You played a song back, might have been the first week we did this, off of that the Bama Boys recorded, a different way. And that was a Heaven Bound song from back in the day that would just get up and go. And this one that I thought maybe we could share tonight was another one of those. I mean, pretty much Jeff Gibson wrote everything they sang. But back in the day, and this was one of my favorite ones that would get up and go. It was from the I Am With Thee album. There's nothing like the old fashioned way.
Yep. Let's play it. Here's Heaven Bound from 1983 in the old fashioned way.
Read it in the Bible about God's power on the day of Pentecost. They were all in one accord, seeking the Lord when the Spirit fell on them all. Now that same Spirit that lived back then is still alive today. There's nothing in the world that'll take the place of the old-fashioned way. There's nothing in the world that'll take the place of the old-fashioned way. When the Spirit of God comes down so strong and the saints begin to pray, rejoicing and singing praises are ringing like the old camp meeting days. There's nothing in the world that'll take the place of the old-fashioned way. Now the world has offered many kinds of religion that they say will keep your soul, but nothing but the blood from Calvary's flow can cleanse and make you whole. And not only you can kneel, the Spirit you'll feel, and then, my friend, you'll say, there's nothing in the world that'll take the place of the old-fashioned way. There's nothing in the world that'll take the place of the old-fashioned way. When the Spirit of God comes down so strong and the saints begin to pray, rejoicing and singing praises all ringing like the old camp meeting days. There's nothing in the world that'll take the place of the old-fashioned way. There's nothing in the world that'll take the place of the old-fashioned way. When the Spirit of God comes down so strong and the saints begin to pray, rejoicing and singing praises all ringing like the old camp meeting days. There's nothing in the world that'll take the place of the old-fashioned way. There's nothing in the world that'll take the place of the old-fashioned way.
That's Heaven Bound in the old fashioned way. Put that picture back up right quick, and let's talk about those guys. We
Okay.
mentioned Jeff Gibson, but kind of from left to right there. That's always always thought that was a unique album cover picture. But that's Jeff Gibson on the left, and then Ken Eubanks that played the piano, and then Lawrence Taylor down on the bottom that sang lead, and then Alan Hamm sang tenor, and they recorded for the Wind Chime label for a number of years, and probably their most famous song was Canaan Land is Just in Sight. But that Jeff wrote, but they did a bunch of them, and they sung through the early 2000s, I think, before they hung it up for good. I think Alan was the first to leave in about 88, and then Lawrence left in the early 90s, and Jeff in the mid 90s, and then Ken kind of kept it going until the end there. But yeah, it was some good stuff from Heaven Bound back in the day.
For sure. Yeah. Just a lot of good memories of getting to, meet those guys, talk to them, sing on the stage with them. And, and they definitely rolled out some great music during that time.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, we hadn't mentioned it a whole lot, but there is a singing coming up that's rolling across the bottom of the screen that y'all guys to write down. And the ladies and the gentlemen that are watching. July 23rd, there at the Fayette Civic Center. That's Saturday night. We're going to start at 6 p.m. We're going to have the Lefevre Quartet. And, we'll have some, how about the next time we come around, we'll have some Lefevre Quartet music, let you hear a little bit of them to kind of start introducing you to them. But, if you like Southern gospel music, there's no way you can't like the Lefevre Quartet. And they'll be there singing with us that night. So I'm really looking forward to that.
I can probably give you some before we go off today if you want to.
Oh, if you got it in your list, let's do that. Go ahead and find one. Yeah, but be finding it right now. Cause
okay.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll see what we can come up with, but keep talking while I'm finding it.
Right. Okay. Yeah. The times of getting to meet a lot of these Southern gospel artists, I'm talking about how personable that they were. And one that comes to mind is when we, more than once we had a chance to be on a program with the Cathedral Quartet, and George and Glenn were the kindest, to me. I was a teenage boy when we got to sing with them, but they were so encouraging. They said, just keep it up, keep on singing. You're doing a good job. And just so nice. And they just, they just stood and talked to me all night is the way I felt if I wanted to. I was so nervous. I couldn't hardly think of anything to say, when I was around them, but just how kind they were is something that always stuck with me, of them and even others that we got a chance to talk to and to be around over the years.
I'll tell you what, I think I've got this one up, but, I think it was the first album that the Lefevre Quartet recorded after Jay joined them, was in 2020, and a song that he's featured on. I think I can get this playing, but this one ministers to me a whole lot, called Between the Prayer and the Answer. I think it's going to play for me here.
Oh, yeah. Great song. Great song.
Here we go.
Friend, do you wonder what the Lord does while you're praying hard and still waiting? Has He forgotten what's going on? Does He know your poor heart is breaking? Oh, I've learned the truth and my life's the proof. Yes, I know what God did for me. I've been in your place now through eyes of faith. I can see God's building bridges and tearing down walls, lifting His children whenever one falls. He's turning rivers of tears back into laughter. He's mending fences, He's changing minds. I've seen Him do it time after
That's the Lefebvre Quartet, and Between the Prayer and the Answer. Boy, that's a good song right there. I don't care what anybody
Powerful
says.
song. Powerful. Well, let me see if I can show that, in the just fly by the seat of your pants kind of thing. Let me see if
Yeah.
I can show that album cover that came off of.
All right.
I think maybe I might can. I don't know. Let's see. If I say that right there, if I say that right there, and if
Stand by.
yeah, stand by.
Then your face goes dark. There you go. Now your
Yeah.
screen's white again. So.
Okay. Maybe I can't then, like I thought I could. But anyway, I wanted to show that.
That's all right.
How about this? Does that show it right there?
There you go. There you go.
Can you
Now
see
got
it?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's
Lefebvre
that.
Quartet Hope.
Right. That's the album that song comes from off of. The same five guys in that photo you were showing. But yeah, what a powerful song that is. And boy, that's just one that they are loaded with good songs like that and good old toe tappers too. And I just know you folks are gonna really enjoy them when they come there to the Fayette Civic Center.
All right. And that's going to be on July 23rd. And we'll be telling you a whole lot more about it. I've already got it in my mind. I know I want Jay Perrick on with us at some point, and I think we'll be able to make that happen.
Okay.
But we may get
deal.
Mike or Jordan and have Old Home Folks Week or whatever the case might be. But
Yeah, that'll be fun.
we'll try to get them on between now and then. We still got a little bit of time to play with. So
Yeah, and as
go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. I was going to just say, as we continue to do these things, because I mean, we're doing it because we've been encouraged to by people just saying they like to, for some reason, like to hear us talk about these old times. And the music, I think that's the main thing. But as we continue to do these, when you watch one of these, click like on it if you do like it. There's a way you can say you like this video, and if you don't know how, I've heard some people say just ask your grandkids; they'll show you how to do it.
That's true.
Share it to others that you think may enjoy it, and that just lets more people, hear the message. I mean, at the root of all of this is the sharing of the gospel through this music, and if more people can see it, I mean, we're not on here trying to go worldwide and get 1 million views. If we could, great, but if you'll share it, if you'll like it, that helps the way these social media networks work. It helps others to be able to see it. And so if you want to do that going forward, I mean, if we keep doing it a long time, we ain't even talked about it, Chris, but we might just get a Champion Brothers page, and that be the place where it comes instead of being on a lot of different
Right.
a lot of different streams like it currently is. But we'll tell you several weeks ahead of time if that takes place. But yeah, just share this with others you think might like it. Click the like button. You could there's even ways to get notified of when it's going to go live, like to remind you. And again, get those grandkids to help you. They'll help you figure that out. But yeah, I just wanted to say that. But yeah, it has. I mean, where does the hour go when we start doing this?
Oh, I know it. Yeah, we already been going 1 hour and 5 minutes, and we haven't said this in a while. But up in the upper right corner of the screen, you see pre-recorded, because we're not actually live tonight. If you're watching this on Thursday night at 7, we recorded this back on Sunday afternoon because I've got Eli's starting a new play with Self-Express Productions in Winfield, and his rehearsals start tomorrow night. So we'll be going to Winfield on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. So that kind of precluded us from being able to be live this Thursday, but we'll still be here on Thursdays at 7:00. It may or may not be live, and we may go live at other times. You never know, but we'll work that out as we go along too. But let's wrap it up. We like all kind of gospel music. And,
right. Yeah, Southern gospel has really all kinds of different styles that kind of fill the Southern gospel genre, if you will, and bluegrass gospel is one of those. And I'm a little bit partial to bluegrass. I like the picking, I like the singing, I like the vocals. Same good message in the songs, and at least I hope that's where you were going, Chris. We kind of fly by the seat of our pants here, but yeah, this was one of my favorites. This I don't think it was on a million-seller album, and probably didn't go number one and nothing like that. But it was always one of my favorite songs by Doyle Lawson and Quicksilver. And one of these days, me and you and Scott's going to get together somewhere in a room with a guitar, and we're going to sing this song. Just sing it to each other. I've always thought I wanted to hear us sing this song to each other. But
you never know. We may have it ready to sing on July 23rd. So.
Oh, man, that ought to get you to come even that night. Yeah, just to be able to hear that. Woo,
Well, let's
Scott
listen to the
sweating when he hears
masters.
us say that.
Oh yeah, that's right. But he'll get over it.
Oh,
Let's
yeah.
listen to Doyle Lawson and Quicksilver and Only God.
Here each day we daily travel, and as on the way we go, there are things beyond our vision. There are things we do not know. God has given all completeness, and He knows the reason why His great plan was so decided. While we live and while we die, only God will make a rainbow. Only He makes stars to shine. By His power, the dewdrops glisten. He's our gift of love and mercy divine. Only God can give full pardon, cleanse your soul, and make you free. The doors of heaven He has opened. Only God can save a sinner like me. In the land of joy awaiting, over on the other side, God has built for us bright mansions where no troubles there betide. Heaven's stars up there will glisten, and the vesper breezes blow. Only God can make the heavens, none but He such love can show. Only God can make a rainbow. Only He makes stars to shine. By His power, the dewdrops glisten. He's our gifts of love and mercy divine. Only God can give full pardon, cleanse your soul, and make you free. The doors of heaven He has opened. Only God can save a sinner like me.
Doyle Lawson and Quicksilver and Only God. That's some good stuff there. I mean,
For sure.
everything we play is good stuff for the most part.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. We wouldn't play nothing bad.
I was looking to see if there was another Doyle song I wanted to play or something else, but
He's got plenty more.
I've got one on my mind that I don't know if I've got loaded up and can play or not, but the Primitive Quartet, which there was a time where I used to say that there was only two groups that I would pay money to go see, and one was the Lesters and one was the Primitive Quartet. But that was many, many years ago, but there was a song that they did, and I'm looking to see if I can find it. I should have had this already pulled up, but I didn't. But
It's all right. We can look.
this is the kind of stuff that I do is I can hear the song, but I can't think of the name of it. You ever do that?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
But I may have to get that one loaded up for next time, but 'cause I'm not finding it quite yet. But let me see.
Well, just while he's looking at it, just remember we're starting this 3 times a year event there at the Fayette Civic Center. We got it started Saturday night, March 19th, and with the Dixie Echoes, we've already got the Lefevre Quartet lined up for July 23rd. We got Endless Highway coming November 19th. And we've already got the Dixie Echoes ready to come back next year in March, and March the 18th next year. And then we'll be having some other groups after that. If things keep, if you'll keep supporting it, if the people that hear this and even other people that learn about it and are told about it and shared about it, if you guys will come out that night, I mean, just a great way to spend the evening, worshiping our Lord, enjoying Southern gospel music. Definitely, you'll have times to laugh, you'll have times to cry, and just come out and support these, and we will just keep them rolling for sure.
I can't find the song I was thinking about, but I may get that called up for next time because
Okay.
everybody needs to hear a little bit of primitive quartet every now and then.
Oh,
so we'll have that on for
absolutely.
next time. So
Absolutely.
anything else
Be
you
sure.
need to tell?
I think that's about it. I think we're good for another week.
Well, we appreciate everybody tuning in. Again, we hope we'll be live the next time. We were recorded this time on Thursday night, but thank you, everybody, for joining us. And if you left us a comment, we will see it eventually. And appreciate everybody dropping by. And we'll see you whenever next time is for ChampCast or we got to do this again, right? Yeah. Champion Brothers, ChampCast, Bubba's Big Broadcast, or
Let's talk some Southern gospel.
we'll see y'all next time. Good night, everybody.